I slammed the kitchen door so hard the windows rattled, and my mother-in-law didn't even flinch. She just stood there at her counter arranging flowers like nothing happened, while my husband Mark stared at his phone like it might save him from this moment. The cake I'd spent 4 hours making sat untouched on the dining table behind them, all 12 layers of it. His entire family had arrived for his birthday dinner 20 minutes ago, taken one look at my creation, and ordered pizza instead. "It's just easier," his Aunt Carol had said, already on her phone with the delivery place. "We know what we like." I'd watched them laugh and joke while completely ignoring the elaborate dessert I'd researched, practiced, and perfected. The same cake Mark had mentioned wanting back in July. The same cake his mother had specifically requested I make because it would mean so much to him. Now she hummed softly, trimming rose stems like I wasn't standing 3 feet away, shaking. "Mark," I said quietly, "say something." He looked up, his face already arranged in that practiced expression of neutrality I'd come to recognize too well. "Babe, they're just hungry. Don't take it personally." "Don't take it personally?" My voice cracked. "I've been cooking since 6 this morning." His mother finally turned, her smile thin and sharp. "Honey, you're so sensitive. We appreciate the effort, really. It's just that we're simple people with simple tastes. Not everyone needs fancy things." The cake wasn't fancy. It was chocolate with vanilla buttercream. But I didn't argue because I'd learned that arguing accomplished nothing in this house. Instead, I walked to the coat closet, grabbed my purse, and pulled out the envelope I'd been carrying for 3 days. The one I hadn't shown Mark yet. The one that changed everything. "Actually," I said, my hands steadier than I expected, "I think we need to have a different conversation." Mark's eyes narrowed. "What's that?" "Something your mother should probably hear too." The homing stopped. His mother set down her scissors, and for the first time since I'd entered her house 2 years ago as a new bride, I had her complete attention. I didn't open the envelope. Not yet. But I held it where they could both see it, and I watched the color drain from Mark's face as he recognized the return address. "Where did you get that?" he whispered. "Where I get everything," I said, "by being invisible in this family." The dynamic had been broken the moment I walked in with that cake, but nobody had known it yet. Not even me, really. I'd been building toward this moment for months without realizing it, collecting small humiliations like stamps in a passport to nowhere. But 3 days ago, something had shifted. I'd found something I wasn't supposed to find, and it explained everything. Every dismissive comment, every ignored meal, every time Mark had chosen his mother's feelings over mine. His Aunt Carol appeared in the doorway, holding a breadstick. "Pizza's here." "Mark, come help me with the—" She stopped when she saw our faces. "What's going on?" "Family meeting," I said, surprised by how calm I sounded. "Everyone should probably come in here." Mark stood abruptly. "Babe, let's talk about this privately." "We've talked privately for 2 years. It hasn't helped." His mother stepped forward, her expression cooling into something harder. "I don't know what you think you've discovered, but this is my home, and I won't be threatened in it." "I'm not threatening anyone," I said. "I'm just tired of pretending I don't see what's happening." The rest of the family filed into the kitchen slowly. His Uncle Dave, his cousin Sarah, and Tom, his Aunt Margaret, who'd driven my car against traffic last month and laughed about it. They arranged themselves around the kitchen island like this was just another family gathering, but the air had turned electric. Mark moved beside his mother, and I noticed how automatically he did it, how he'd always positioned himself between us, but never on my side. "You want to know why I made that cake?" I asked the room. "Because 3 months ago, Mark told me it was his favorite, that his dad used to make it for him before he passed away, that it would mean everything if I could learn the recipe." His mother's face flickered with something I couldn't read. "So I called every bakery in 3 counties trying to find someone who knew the recipe. I practiced 6 times. I burned it twice. I finally got it right last week, and I was so excited to surprise him." I looked at Mark. "But when I brought it out today, your mom said she'd never heard of your dad making any such cake. She said I must have misunderstood." You did misunderstand, his mother said quickly. Did I? I turned to Mark. Did I misunderstand you? He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at his mother, then back at me. It's complicated. It's really not. I held up the envelope again, but this is. Aunt Carol set down her breadstick. The kitchen had gone completely silent except for the sound of someone's phone buzzing repeatedly in the other room. I'd practiced this moment in my head a dozen different ways over the past 72 hours. I'd imagined screaming, crying, throwing things. But standing there with all of them watching me like I was the problem, I felt something colder and clearer than anger. I felt done. 2 weeks ago, I said, I was cleaning out the garage like Mark asked, moving boxes, organizing tools, trying to make space for his mother's furniture that she wanted to store with us. Again. His mother shifted her weight. I don't see what that has to... And I found a box, I continued, not looking at her. A box of cards and letters, hidden behind the water heater where nobody would accidentally find them. Mark's face had gone pale. You went through my personal things? They weren't your things, I said. They were addressed to me. The silence that followed was so complete, I could hear the clock ticking in the hallway. Someone's breath caught. Aunt Margaret's hand went to her throat. Birthday cards, I said softly. Christmas cards. Anniversary cards. From my family. Dozens of them, going back 2 years. Every single one opened and read. None of them ever given to me. Mark's mother straightened her spine. That's ridiculous. Why would we... They have notes in them, I interrupted. My mom asking why I never respond. My sister wondering if she did something wrong. My dad saying he misses me and doesn't understand why I've cut them off. My voice cracked finally, but I pushed through it. I haven't cut them off. I just never got their messages. Carol gasped. Sarah looked at Mark with wide eyes. Uncle Dave set down his beer slowly, like he was trying not to make a sound. Who else knew? I asked the room. Who else knew these were being intercepted? Nobody spoke, but I watched several pairs of eyes slide toward Mark's mother, then quickly away. This is insane, Mark said, finding his voice. You're making it sound like some conspiracy. Those cards probably just got mixed up in the mail. It happens all the time. For 2 years? Every single card from my entire family? Nothing else? Just those? I pulled one from the envelope, held it up so everyone could see. This one is from my sister, for my birthday last year. She drew a picture of us as kids. She wrote that she loves me and hopes I'm happy, but she's worried because I never call anymore. I pulled out another. This is from my mom, last Christmas. She sent a check for $200 and asked if we could come visit because my grandmother isn't doing well. My hands shook now. My grandmother died in February. I didn't know she was sick. I wasn't there. Aunt Margaret made a small sound of distress. Mark's mother shot her a look that could cut glass. I have 17 cards here, I said. 17 times my family reached out, and I thought they'd forgotten about me, that they didn't care since I got married. I've been so lonely, and the whole time... I couldn't finish the sentence. Mark stepped forward. Okay, look, maybe Mom was trying to protect you. Your family can be intense, and you've said yourself that there's drama. I never said they were perfect, I cut him off, but they're mine, and you had no right to keep them from me, either of you. His mother's face had arranged itself into an expression of wounded dignity. If this happened, and I'm not saying it did, it would only be because we could see how your foreign background was affecting you, the way you were raised, all that emotional chaos. We were trying to give you a fresh start in a real American family. The words landed like stones. Several family members looked uncomfortable now, shifting their weight, studying the floor. A real American family, I repeated slowly. My family has been in Texas for 3 generations. My grandfather fought in Vietnam, but I have a Spanish last name, so that makes me foreign? You know what I mean, she said dismissively. You're different. The way you act, the things you care about. books and cooking and all that sensitivity. It's just not how we do things. Because you do things by stealing someone's mail, isolating them from everyone they love. We gave you a family, his mother snapped, composure finally cracking. We included you in everything, invited you to every gathering, tried to teach you our ways, and this is how you thank us? By accusing us of crimes? You included me? I couldn't stop the bitter laugh. You mock my cooking. You make jokes about me stealing your son when I'm not in the room. You asked Mark about our sex life, and he told you because apparently that's normal here. You warned me before our wedding that you'd always love him more than I could. Not one person here uses my name. I'm just the wife, or that girl, or her. I watched several faces flush with embarrassment or anger. I couldn't tell which. You don't sit with us because you choose not to, his mother said coldly. You sit there with your nose in a book or on your phone, judging us. We can all feel it. I sit alone because none of you talk to me. I bring a book because otherwise I'm just staring at the wall while you all whisper in the kitchen. My voice rose despite my efforts to control it. I've tried everything. I learned your recipes. I wore the clothes you said looked better. I changed my hair. I stopped mentioning my job because you said it was boring. I made myself smaller and quieter and more convenient, and it was never enough. The truth hung in the air like smoke. I could see some of them processing it, maybe for the first time. Aunt Carol looked stricken. Sarah had tears in her eyes. But Mark's mother just crossed her arms. If you're so unhappy, maybe you married the wrong person. Maybe I did, said, looking at Mark, but I'm willing to find out. He blinked. What does that mean? It means we're going to marriage counseling, starting this week. I already made the appointment. I held up the envelope, and I'm giving these cards to a lawyer because intercepting mail is a federal crime. I haven't decided yet if I'm pressing charges, but I want both of you to understand how serious this is. His mother laughed. Actually, laughed. You're threatening legal action over some birthday cards? This is exactly the kind of dramatic overreaction we've been protecting Mark from. You've been protecting Mark from having a wife who talks to her own family, I corrected. You've been protecting him from having to choose between you and me. Well, now he has to choose. I turned to face my husband fully. He looked smaller somehow, backed into the corner between his mother and the sink, his face pale and confused, like he couldn't quite follow what was happening. I need you to understand something, I told him. This isn't just about the cards. It's about every time you've corrected me in front of your family. Every time you've dismissed my feelings because they were inconvenient. Every time you've let your mother disrespect me and then told me I'm too sensitive when I try to talk about it. That's not fair, he protested weakly. I'm caught in the middle here. You put yourself in the middle. You're my husband. You're supposed to be on my side. I am on your side. Then why didn't you say anything when your mother told me I stole you, when she mocked my reading, when she said foreigners like me always take things? I counted them on my fingers. You laughed, Mark. You actually laughed and repeated it to me like it was funny. He flinched. She was joking. She wasn't, and you knew it, but it was easier to make me the problem than to stand up to her. His Aunt Margaret spoke up suddenly, her voice quiet. He's always been like that, honey. Ever since he was small. Linda runs this family, and none of us really question it. Margaret, that's enough, his mother snapped. But Margaret continued, looking at me with something like pity. My husband left me 12 years ago, said he couldn't breathe, said the family was suffocating. I thought he was weak, but watching this? She trailed off, shaking her head. I looked around the kitchen, really looked at them all. Uncle Dave, divorced. Aunt Carol, divorced. Even Tom, Mark's cousin, wore no wedding ring, though I knew he'd been married once. The only married men I'd ever seen at these gatherings were boyfriends of the younger generation, and they never lasted long. "How many marriages has this family destroyed?" I asked quietly. "That's not fair," Sarah said, but she sounded uncertain. "Isn't it? Your mom said it herself. Linda runs this family. And part of running it means making sure no woman ever really becomes part of it. No woman except the ones born into it." "You're being paranoid," Mark said, but he couldn't meet my eyes. "Am I? Then explain the cards, Mark. Explain why they were hidden. Explain why you never mentioned that my family was trying to reach me." He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Mother, always looking at his mother. "He didn't know," Linda said firmly. "I handled the mail. If there was confusion, it was my mistake. I'll apologize if it makes you feel better." It wasn't confusion. It was systematic. And you know what the worst part is? I felt tears finally coming, but I didn't try to stop them. I believed you. When you acted concerned about me, asking if everything was okay with my family, suggesting maybe they didn't care as much as they should, I believed you were trying to help. And the whole time, you were the reason I was isolated. Linda's mask slipped for just a moment, and I saw something calculating beneath it, something cold. Then it was gone, replaced by wounded dignity. "I've done nothing but welcome you into this family," she said. "If you choose to see conspiracy in kindness, that says more about you than me." "Then you won't mind if I call my mom right now," I said, pulling out my phone. "Since you've been so welcoming, I'm sure you'll be happy to know I'm reconnecting with my family." I watched Linda's face carefully. She said nothing, but her jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. I dialed my mother's number. It rang once, twice, then her familiar voice. "Hello? Mom?" My voice broke. "Mom, it's me." The sound she made was something between a sob and a laugh. "Baby, oh my God, baby, where have you been? We've been so worried. I've been calling and calling." "I know, I just found out. I never got your messages. Any of them." "What? How is that possible?" I stared at Linda. "Someone made sure I didn't get them. But I have them now. I have all of them. And Mom, I need to tell you something. About Grandma. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she was sick." My mother made another choked sound. "Oh, honey, we thought you knew and just couldn't make it. We didn't understand why you wouldn't at least call. I would have been there. You know I would have been there." Behind me, I heard someone crying softly. When I turned, I saw it was Sarah, Mark's cousin. She was staring at her grandmother with an expression of dawning horror. "I have to go," I told my mom, "but I'm going to call you back tonight. We have a lot to talk about. I love you." "I love you too, baby, so much. Please don't disappear again." "I won't, I promise." I ended the call and looked at Mark. He was watching me with an expression I couldn't read, something between guilt and defensiveness. "I want you to hear something," I said to the room. "My mother just told me they thought I knew about my grandmother. They thought I chose not to come to the funeral. For 2 years, they've thought I abandoned them, and I thought they'd abandoned me. All because someone in this room decided I shouldn't be allowed to maintain relationships outside this family." "You're being dramatic," Linda said, but her voice had less certainty now. "Am I? Then explain something else to me. Why does your vegetarian aunt refuse to eat the salad I make specifically for her? Why does everyone suddenly have somewhere else to be when I cook? Why do people show up just in time for meals but won't touch anything I've prepared?" Aunt Carol cleared her throat. "Linda said you weren't very clean in the kitchen, that you didn't follow food safety rules. We were just being cautious." I stared at her, then at Linda. "I'm a food scientist. It's literally my job to understand food safety." Carol's eyes widened. "You're a what?" "A food scientist. I work for the Department of Agriculture. I inspect commercial kitchens and develop safety protocols." I turned back to Linda. "You told them I'm not clean? You convinced them my food isn't safe to eat?" Linda's face had gone very still. I may have expressed some concerns. Based on what? Based on the fact that your standards are clearly different from ours. Cultural differences, that's all. Cultural differences, I repeated flatly. You mean because I'm Spanish? I mean, because you weren't raised the way we were. The truth was finally visible now, stark and ugly in the fluorescent kitchen light. I could see several family members processing it, their faces changing as they realized what they'd been participating in. Let me make sure I understand, I said slowly. You've spent 2 years poisoning this family against me. You've told them my food isn't safe. You've intercepted my mail. You've mocked my interests and my background. You've created a situation where I'm always the outsider, always wrong, always too sensitive when I try to address it. And you've trained your son to choose you over me every single time. I paused. Is that about right? Linda lifted her chin. I've protected my son from a marriage that was clearly making him unhappy. I'm not unhappy, Mark said quickly. Too quickly, his mother challenged. You're constantly stressed. She's always upset about something. You can't have a normal family gathering without her creating drama. You told me yourself just last week that you felt trapped. The words hit me like a physical blow. I turned to Mark slowly. You said that? You told your mother you felt trapped? He looked panicked now. That's not... You're taking it out of context. I was just venting about work stress. Don't lie to her now, Linda said, almost gently. She deserves the truth. You've been unhappy for months. We've all seen it. I watched my husband's face cycle through a dozen emotions. Guilt, defensiveness, anger, fear. But not denial. He didn't deny it. Mark, I said quietly, look at me. He did, finally, and I saw it clearly for the first time. He wasn't a man caught between two loyalties. He was a man who'd already made his choice, probably long before this moment. He'd just been too comfortable, or too cowardly, to make it official. You were never going to choose me, I said. It wasn't a question. It's not that simple, he started. Yes, it is. It's exactly that simple. Your mother has been sabotaging our marriage from the beginning. You let her. You helped her. Because this was easier than actually building a life with me. That's not true. I love you. You love the idea of being married. You love having someone to come home to. But you don't love me enough to protect me from your family. And that's not enough. The envelope sat on the counter between us, a physical reminder of everything that had been taken from me. 2 years of isolation. 2 years of thinking I was crazy for feeling unwelcome. 2 years of making myself smaller while being told I was too much. I'm leaving, I said. The words surprised me as much as anyone. I hadn't planned them, but once they were out, I knew they were right. I'm going to pack my things, and I'm going to stay with my parents while we figure this out. You can't just leave, Mark protested. Watch me. Where will you go? What will you do? The question stopped me. I turned back to him, and I saw it finally. The thing that had been bothering me for 2 years without me being able to name it. He didn't see me as a person, not really. I was a role in his life, a function. The wife, the one who cooks and cleans and fits into the space his mother allows. The idea of me existing independently, making decisions without his permission, literally didn't compute. I'll go anywhere that's not here, I said, and I'll do whatever I want, because those cards, they weren't just from my parents and sister. One was from my old boss, the consulting firm I turned down to stay here with you. They were offering me a promotion and a transfer to Houston. The position is probably filled by now, but I'm going to call and find out, because apparently I have options I didn't know about. His face went slack with shock. You didn't know that card was in there, did you? I asked Linda. You just grabbed anything addressed to me and hid it. You didn't even read them all. She said nothing, but her silence was answer enough. I picked up the envelope and walked toward the door. The family parted for me like water, nobody quite meeting my eyes. At the threshold, I stopped and turned back. "One more thing," I said. "That cake, the one nobody would eat, it wasn't your recipe. It wasn't anything your husband ever made. I invented it. I told Mark that story 3 months ago to see what would happen, to see if his mother would sabotage even that." I looked at Linda. "And you did. You convinced everyone not to eat it before they even tried it, because you can't let me have even one thing in this family, can you?" Linda's face had gone white. Mark stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "You lied to me?" he said. "I tested you, and you failed. Both of you." I hefted the envelope. "These cards go to my lawyer tomorrow. If you intercepted federal mail, Linda, that's a felony. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do about that, but I suggest you think very carefully about how you want this to play out, because I'm done being the nice girl who swallows every insult and comes back for more." I walked out of that house without looking back. I heard Mark calling after me, his mother's voice rising in anger, other family members starting to argue. But I kept walking until I reached my car, got in, and drove away. The cake sat alone on that dining table, all 12 layers of lies, untouched and perfect. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have confronted them sooner? Or does staying silent to gather evidence make more sense in a situation like this?